നെറ്റ് പോയോ?
ഹൈഡ് വെച്ചിട്ട് ഏതിലായി PPT അല്ലല്ലേ ആ സംഭവം ഒന്ന് ഹൈഡ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കും. മെസ്സേജ് കാണുന്നത്
എങ്ങനെ പോകാത്താണ് വേറെ അങ്ങനത്തെ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളൊന്നുമില്ല. വലിയ എക്സാം നടക്കുന്ന ബ്രില്യൻ്റ് എക്സാം എക്സാം അത് രാവിലെ 9 മണിട്ട് വൈകുന്നേരം 5 മണിയാണ്.
ഇതിനിടെ പോയാലോ? അതിനിടെ എങ്ങനെ പോവോ?
ഇതുവരെ എങ്ങനെ പോയില്ലേ? എക്സാം നടക്കാറുണ്ട് ഇവിടെ. ജാം എക്സാം
സ്ലൈഡ് ഷോ എടുക്കാം. സ്ലൈഡ് ഷോ എടുത്ത ബിഗിനിങ് പതിനെട്ട് കയറിയിട്ടില്ല. ഓൺലൈൻ അല്ല ഞാൻ ടോപ്പിക് ഇവിടെ കൊടുക്കേണ്ടില്ലായിരുന്നു. ഇവിടെ
ഹലോ സൗണ്ട് വരുന്നുണ്ടോ?
Good afternoon and welcome back. Hope you are refreshed. We have panel discussion on the topic Intervention and Challenges of Social Work in Digital Era. We have succeeded in roping a galaxy of eminent social work professionals from across the country. We have Dr. Sonny Jose from the extreme south, Trivandrum, and Dr. Sanjoy Roy from the north, New Delhi, and the other panelist is Dr. Rambabu Bocha from Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development. To guide the discussions, we have Dr. Jose Anjani as moderator. Dr. Jose Anjani, Professor, Department of Social Work, Sri Shankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kaladi, Kerala. He is the president of Association of Schools of Social Work in Kerala. He's a trainer in personality development, career, and creativity of adolescents and youth. He has 25 years of experience in PG teaching and research in the university level, and he has many publications to his credit. Dr. Sonny Jose, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Social Work, Loyola College of Social Sciences, Trivandrum. He's an expert in social work education, counseling, developmental psychology, research, and social entrepreneurship. Professor Sanjay Roy, faculty at Department of Social Work, University of Delhi in India, advocating for indigenous social work practice in India since 2012 and has worked with All India Institute of Medical Science. He is Vice President of National Association of Professional Social Workers in India. He has received several awards including Bharat Ratna Dr. Radhakrishnan Gold Medal Award 2019. Dr. Ram Babu Bocha, Assistant Professor in Social Work in Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development. He holds the life membership of National Association of Professional Social Workers in India and is the recipient of Young Achievement Award in Social Work. So we can start our panel discussion. Over to you, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Jose, we can hear you. Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Dear Sani, Sanjay, and Rambabu sir, welcome to this panel. A word of great appreciation to the St. Joseph's Devagiri College, specifically with the Department of Social Work, headed by T.S. Thomas sir and his team, and the entire students fraternity who has really made this conference a wonderful event. And they are also discussing on a very, very valuable issue of the contemporary social order. A digital world, also a digital divide. So how we really position or contextualize social work as an academic discipline and a practice profession in a world of this digital revolution, we would say, in that terminology. Because in the traditional understanding of haves and have-nots, and in the traditional dichotomy between the accessibility, availability, and the system of social existence, we know the technology is always an asset of the haves. And many times the have-nots in different ways, or the people in the peripheries of the social order, on various reasons, are not really given with an opportunity to access and avail the possibilities of technology. And due to the pandemic, we were really flooded with technology now, I think. There was a gradual pace of being digitalized in the entire universe. But the coronavirus have made it very, very rapid. We were compelled to give up the traditional systems and embrace what is being brought out as the digital world. Otherwise, we could have a gradual pace of shifting our dependencies on the conventional, traditional systems to modern, digitalized or technocratic technological system devices. But unfortunately, we were really thrown into that. And you find a kind of uprootedness with the new generation, because they have lost their grip with the tradition, and all of a sudden they are put across with a different world. And I think there is a beautiful coinage in the new era, that is indoor generation. A generation which is growing inside the four walls of institutions, maybe family, maybe educational institution. They are being denied with the social order, social experiences. Almost 52 years back, we have got a book in English which has deliberated about this digital world, that is The Future Shock by Alfred Toffler. It is talked about, and he has presented a social order in which People will be confined to their houses. And he was explained a flat in which is being centralized, oxygenated. And they have no exposure outside. So a generation is growing inside now who have a very totally different challenge of social skills. They learn a lot from the digital devices. They play in digital devices. They love in digital devices. They experience and enjoy everything on digital platforms. And the human brain has turned to be a desktop PC now. That's what I understand. We had a system of desktop PC, and now we think of a desktop PC. And that desktop PC has got two wonderful, others at the same time alarming characteristics. One is it has got deletable memories. And again, we can think of formatable hard disk and a replaceable nature. So the digital world is bringing out a totally different challenge to the next generation people. And of course, social work, which is concerned with humanity, entire universe, the social order, economy, politics, culture, and all these systems cannot be an exception to this invasion of digital systems into this social order. So how social work profession as a practicing system as well as a disciplinary concern, academic domain, is positioned, is capable, or is equipped and trained to face with the challenges and the issues we face with. It's not only challenges and issues, it brings out beautiful opportunities too. Because there is no point of hanging on with the nostalgias. We have to travel according to the tides. So while we travel according to the tides, without losing our grips in the history, how we really position ourselves as social workers, social work academicians, social work practitioners, social work trainers, social work educational institutions, social work practicing organizations, how we position ourselves in this digitalized world. Because there was a time in the Brahminic period where the technology of knowledge was with the upper class or upper caste. Then there came the industrialists who have really taken up with the digital technological world. So we had computers, softwares, network systems and all. Now, the next domain which the digital world has really monopolized was the medical system. So after the knowledge production or the traditional system, we have come to a system where education has become really digitalized now. That's why sitting in Delhi, sitting in Trivandrum, or sitting in Rajiv Gandhi Institute, and sitting in Sri Shankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kaladi in Kerala, we could come together, deliberate together, think together, develop knowledge, disseminate it, and beautifully make a global concept of existence. So it has got wonderful potentialities if we really tap it. And at the same time, because it has got potentialities and beautiful opportunities in the awaited future, we have challenges, very serious challenges. How we cope up with the inertia of this shift, how we cope up with the challenges of getting this, how we cope up with reducing the divide between the haves and have-nots in accessing technology and the digital system. How we make our social justice practical in a digital world. How we make human rights and social rights possible in a digital world. How we make the social work principles, methods, and strategies applicable in a digital world. Can we do social casework on a digital platform? Should we think in terms of social group work happening and on a digital platform? Very recently, two techies came to me for a consultation. They are making a platform on which anybody can come up and take up their solutions for their emotional problems, social problems. They're making a proxy platform in which different people may be coming together and sharing their knowledge without knowing each other, without having a face-to-face interaction. So basic understandings on social casework which happens between two individuals, basic understanding on counseling which is supposed to be between two individuals or a professional and a group, is taking new shapes. So I try to open up this panel with this type of small deliberations where Devagiri College has really come out with a wonderful theme to deliberate, a very appropriate, timely issue to deliberate. And I'm happy we have three great personalities, Sony Jose with tremendous experience from Loyola College Trivandrum, Dr. Sanjoy with tremendous knowledge, experience and exposures from Delhi University, and Rambabu Boche sir from Rajiv Gandhi Institute. And I believe the participants of this program will be definitely benefited with new vistas of knowledge, possibilities, and challenging opportunities we have. With this opening remarks, I think we will slowly move to the presentation by all the three, followed by a detailed discussion. My humble request to the participants, this is an opportunity for you to participate in the discussion. So have your queries, have your comments, have your suggestions, have your experience being shared on this wonderful digital platform. We are making a discussion on digital world and practicing social work academically as well as in the field. So we will move to the presentation system. I think Sony may initiate with the presentation. Okay, so welcome Sony, Sanjoy sir, and Rambabu sir. Welcome to this panel. And all distinguished participants, please be with us. Let us make something new, something different, something original from this discussion. Thank you. Sony, please.
Thank you. At the outset, let me thank Devagiri College, St. Joseph's, for having initiated this discussion. I think it has been a long time since this should have been come up, and I'm glad that you've taken it up. Number one, I accord my appreciation to my teacher, T.S. Thomas, who's essentially your head of the department at Devagiri. With all respects and pronouns, T.S. Thomas, I'm here because of you. And Jose has been a co-traveler. Bocha, I've been teaching one of his students. He's a research scholar with me, Praveen. So Bocha, I've heard about you a lot, also through Febina, and also Sanjoy. So into this program, I think Jose has led the foundation in which he talked about Toffler. Toffler has written a trilogy, in fact, PowerShift, Future Shock, and then the third wave. In the third wave, he talks about the information, the third revolution in terms of information being the basis for human revolution and civilization. And also Milton Friedman. Thomas Friedman has written the book, The World is Flat. So what we're looking at is a flat world. You're looking at the screen. I'm also looking at the screen. Everything happens through this window. I think they were much in advance predicting about it. I'll probably go to my presentation. I'm using a mobile screen, so let me try. I hope it's visible. Oh, just a second. Hita is one of the organizers. Hita there? Can you share my presentation if it's okay?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, at the outset, I think I have two pictures to be shown. We grew up on a generation which feasted on the science fiction called Star Trek. That was in the 1970s, early 70s and 80s. I think those who were my generation used to wait for this to be screened on television. And in that particular, this serial, this particular program, you'll find Captain Spock. The names are William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, Vulcan, the Vulcan they call him. So this is a group of people who are traveling on a starship called. Yes, Hita.
Sorry to interrupt. Could you please stop your presentation?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I think it stopped here.
Yes, thank you, sir.
So in that second slide, you'll see this picture of Star Trek and Shatner wearing a watch. And this watch is very, very peculiar at the time because it was something called magic, because using this watch, Shatner could communicate to his starship, his spacecraft. He could also monitor his body parameters when he's been attacked or is not keeping well because he's been on a planet for long. The information is transferred to the base control. And most importantly, it is possible to teleport. What is teleportation? Teleportation is where you actually you try to transfer your own body from one place to another. Okay. So at that time, it was something that we could not think about. But fast forward to the 1970s, you'll find email. Incidentally, did you know that the email was first supposed to be invented by Shiva and Annadurai, a migrant from Andhra to US, and versus the Ray Tomlinson, who was supposed to be the person behind that popularly. There was a controversy regarding that. So this email, in fact, although it is pretty old now, 30 years old, email for your information is actually transmitting data. Whatever documents we have, it is broken into pieces. They call it packets. And from packets, it is transferred from one place to another. Okay. So the reality is that our documents are broken down into small packets and transferred all over the internet. And there's no way in which anybody can monitor this transmission. But it is reassembled on on your inbox at some other location. So everything is broken up into packets and transferred. The same technology could be in future used to transfer human bodies. So basically, if you know, those who are here who are familiar with the ultimate truth, all of us are nothing but packets of energies. So if you can break our body into pieces and transmit it and reassemble it at a particular point, then teleportation, just like emailing, would be possible, is the thesis. So I'm saying this possibility was long since possible. Hiba, I don't think you have it yet, right? Yeah, that is the slide. Yeah, thank you. So this slide that we see here is essentially the thing I talked about, teleportation happening. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is Shiva Annadurai and Ray, who invented the email. Next slide, please. Yeah, these are the things we thought were not possible, but now we have head-up displays. And why not? Could we not have holograms when you do your work instead of using physical reality, manipulating through digital reality? So these are things which are emerging in the future. Next slide, please. The cars that we have now has very advanced systems in which it monitors through radars your progress. It can adapt your speed with respect to vehicle in front of you. If somebody jumps in front, immediately stops it. Okay, so you don't have to do anything. This is autonomy level 5, where you don't have to do any sort of manipulation of the steering or the brakes. Everything happens on its own. But I'm saying that this is what digitizing is doing. So this car is a representation of us, where we are going to go into places without too much of manipulation. I think next slide, please. This is definition of digitalization, the conversion of information into binary numbers, which are easily manageable by computers. And this enables two things. One is automation. Second is improving productivity. So most of the things that we consciously used to do physically can be taken over by some device or some system. And so productivity, processability, and programmability, allowing you plenty of autonomy, is what is going to be the future. So a lot of the things that we do mechanically are taken care of by the machines, and we are left to do much more intelligent work, is the assumption. Next slide, please. This is the opportunity. We have 2 billion plus personal computers on this planet, 3.8 billion smartphones. That is almost 47% of the human population. And it's fast spreading. And you know, even your grandmother, my mother has a phone which is a smartphone. So access is tremendous. So also, just like Joe says, apart from the digital divide, it also prevents a lot of relief in terms of removing barriers, especially economic barriers. Now, because of the smartphone, technology is easily accessible. You don't have to have a laptop. You don't have to have a workstation. It's on your computers. Sorry, on your devices. Yeah. Next slide, please. The other prospects are in terms of the way in which it has altered human communication. These are referenced literature. It has immensely disrupted philanthropy. That is one of the interesting observations. Unlike in the past where we used to have conventional campaigns, now it is done on social media and on a broad scale. So also it provides transformational opportunities for interventions, especially in mental health and behavioral health, as we're going to look forward to in the next few slides. Next slide, please. However, this poses certain limitations because we as social workers have limited training and education in terms of incorporating technology, number one. We also have some misconceptions or misperceptions about the use, that it cannot be used. And there are studies that show that we have essentially been very slow to adopt, okay? And more important is the last part, limited resources, ethical, legal considerations, which we'll be taking up shortly, lack of training, and excessive reliance on what we think is the physical face-to-face communication seem to impede us from accepting technology. Next slide, please. And I think we have this baggage of this NASW Code of Ethics, which actually has in standard 1.04 B and C. The first one talks about the need to engage with new technologies by way of appropriate education, research, training, and consultation supervision. But all the same, where generally standards do not exist, we need to exercise careful judgment. So there's this catch-22 situation. You are told to adopt new things, but then be very cautious is the message being put forth through this NASW Code of Ethics. Next slide, please. The compulsions, well, in reality, if you look at the healthcare professionals or, helping professions, in the US, 640,000 social workers are there versus 580,000 other healthcare workers, including counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, all put together. We outnumber them. So it is all the more imminent that we turn to take technology as a priority. But however, there's limited literature developed by social workers versus what is done by psychologists. That's a very interesting paradox. We are large in number, but we are the least to contribute in terms of creating literature. So I'm putting as the last line here, we need to harness technological advancements and leverage digital advances for social good. That is a proposition. Okay, what has happened over the scape? We have personalized individual-based devices, right? And apps. And now very interestingly, all these apps that we are doing are mostly trying to be customized. They're custom made. They are quite adaptable to the individual. And it's very interesting, the last line, if you read it, self-paced treatment has shown to enhance individual commitment and participation treatment. So this is a large bearing. When you devise systems or platforms which are self-directed, self-paced, people get more involved. So very good indication there. Next slide, please. Artificial intelligence. This is something that is now rampant, where we think that machines can learn and function. Yes, I will give you examples towards the end. There are algorithms which can detect optimal response when you make a call or when you attend to a client. It can help in improve client satisfaction. And most importantly, this is something very interesting. These systems are capable of matching client-therapist sync. Now, for instance, when somebody comes to me, I've been a therapist for 5 years. Now, when somebody asks me for a referral, I will always ask the person, what is the child or the person more attached? Who's the person more attached to, the mother or the father? Because I believe that that sync is very important. If you're very good, very honest, and we are very transparent with your mother, then I think a mother role model might come in. So that way, I'm saying algorithms can devise. Can assess profiles, just like we do matchmaking in terms of marriages. So there are algorithms that do it. Okay, so artificial intelligence can be harnessed. Next slide, please. Gamification, just like the way we play PUBG, where you are tuning your responses. There, in PUBG and other war cry games, you're actually shooting down. So you're actually rewarding negative behavior. In the same way, if you're allowed to position yourself with softwares and programs which will help you modify and put in more adaptive behaviors. That is exactly the idea behind gamification. So in treatment strategies, especially in effective treatments of substance abuse, depression, and also violence prevention, domestic violence prevention, also in the case of PTSD, there are softwares and platforms that help based on gamification techniques. Tetris is an example where you have a virtual reality being created in which you engage with distressing situations. Next slide, please. This is what gamification does in terms of advantages. It feels that you are part of a community. You are trying to reward positive behavior, okay? And also it creates a competition between you and maybe a virtual opponent or a virtual situation where you try to improve on your responses. Next slide, please. Messaging systems, notifying people about maybe if you're in doing service or you have a client, informing them about the progress or maybe getting a feedback, things like that, especially in DOTS or in R&T, the Revised National Tuberculosis Control Program, maybe just like the way we have DOTS, if we had, instead of the ASHA worker or the person at the ground level making contact, maybe you can do it through computer-generated messaging. So these are another options. Next slide, please. Other possibilities include documentation, where we have voluminous documentation possible by way of Padlet or Evernote, wherein you can store videos, you can store documents, you can store voice, you can store links, in addition to whatever you report. So this gives you a medium for processing in future. Next slide, please. Co-creating and co-sharing, as we do right now in these days. Google Forms through which you can do data collection. Google Documents, which you co-create and manage. For instance, when we do research with research scholars, we prepare what we call articles, and it is reviewed simultaneously by all of us. Next slide, please. Disaster management, we have done this in 2018 when the floods happened. One of our students who dropped out teamed with an engineering team, and they did GIS plotting. They looked at the television images that located the places, and they placed on a GIS map the positions of people in distress. And this information was passed on to the disaster management SDMA in Trivandrum. Wonderful work, very quietly done. Project management is another application which we have done. I can show the next slides. We've done at least 4 projects. Next slide, please. Safety Pin is the first project in which we actually did mark places. If you look at the map, you find places in red and places in green and places maybe in orange. Red shows danger areas based on lighting parameters, 9 parameters, lighting, access, security, drainage, the road. So infrastructure is assessed there, and you are putting a rating. So bad spaces you put in red, green are good spaces. And this was put on a map for the corporation to look at. We did floating for the World Bank study of the Punalur Pungundam project. And then we had done it and made it available for the revenue department. Next slide, please. So also this is a beautiful example where we worked with a hackathon team, engineering college students who were into the hackathon. And what you see is actually they're developing a software, a platform to interface. This platform is simply a user interface on your mobile, which can recognize, using face recognition technologies, your facial expressions, make an assessment whether you are depressed or not. It measures your voice, and using an algorithm, it tells you that you're probably depressed. If so, a chatbot engages you and gives you a referral. So we have been working with similar, platforms. And another example was where we worked with the agriculture team, where they planted sensors on a plot, as we do in high-tech, what we call farming. And this sensor data in terms of the salt quality, the soil quality, the humidity, and in fact, also the pictures of the leaves, these being put through machine learning, which is, again, an algorithm process through which the picture that you're taking is matched with millions of data, and you'll be given a correct diagnosis of the kind of disease that is happening in a plant. So incorporating technology for the human systems. We have been able to cobble up a lot of interactions with foreign universities. Yeah, you can keep on tapping, Hiba. Only because we have online platforms, we have been able to reach out a lot of communities internationally. Can you just keep on tapping, Hiba? Yeah. We have been at least 5 collaborations over the last 2 years, which we're going strong. Next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. Clinical interventions is another area which I talked about. You can just keep on tapping, Hiba. where actually we need to bring in technology. But the most important thing that has been stopping us from doing that is the focus on relationships per se, and also very strong ethical considerations that have been forcing away from us from engaging with it. Social workers also need to be prepared to anticipate ethical and legal dilemmas in future as we engage in therapeutic relationships. And that is the only paradox we are encountering. But however, I think we need to go into it. This is an opportunity for us, as in the case of any other medical profession or health professional, to engage in therapies through gamification, but at the same time keeping in balance other aspects such as ethical considerations. Next slide, please. Yeah, I'll probably cite an example of the cyber therapy which I read on in something called Second Life. The picture that you see on top is a two-dimensional picture which will give you a virtual reality experience. So you are exposed to a situation in which you are not comfortable and you're made to adapt and interact with the people within that context. That is what they call the game called Second Life. It's a software. But if you use augmented reality, using devices like that, you can create holograms in which you can interact. So give people real experiences in terms of fighting phobia or even engaging with context that creates PTSD. So I'm saying a lot of opportunities are there. Next slide, please. In conclusion, I would simply say that digitalization presents it with incredible opportunity horizon. But the caution is that we need to balance this off with ethical considerations. And appropriate use is always great. Otherwise, we will tend to end up in abuse. I think this is what I have to say to the group. Opportunity is ahead within us. We have been slow to embrace this opportunity compared to the other professions such as psychology or medicine. So I think it's the right time. Thank you so much.
Okay, Sony, I will come back to the discussion towards the end. Shall we move to the next presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Rambabu sir, I think you will proceed with.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the Department of Social Work at St. Joseph's College, Devagiri Calicut, and my dear friend, Mr. Anis Kurian, and also my dear panel members. First of all, to the moderator, Dr. Jose Anthony, and Dr. Sunny Jose, Professor Sanjay Roy. All of us are together in social work fraternity, and definitely you are all above me as far as the seniority or the knowledge in social work education and training is concerned. Thank you very much for inviting me to talk about a little bit about the digitalization in alteration of traditional practices, particularly with reference to social work education and training. So I will not take much time, but I will just give a brief about how we had gone through this digitalization and evaluation of digitalization in social work education and training. And undoubtedly, Dr. Sunny and Dr. Jose Anthony has already set a very good background on this particular topic. And when social work education was inaugurated in the late 19th century, technology consisted primarily of the telephone, which was at the point was only 20 years old. So that was when we have begun our social work education and training. And social work students who enrolled during 1930s were introduced a new form of technology, that is electrical typewriter. So that was the situation in 1930. And moving forward, the social workers who completed their degrees during the 1960s were able to send facsimiles using the first commercially available fax machines. And as Dr. Sunny Jose highlighted about the email messages, on October 29th, 1969, the first message was sent from computer to computer on ARPANET by Ray Tomlinson, who has invented this. And by the 1980s, social work students were able to leave messages from various purposes by using various kind of devices, particularly computers. And now in 2020 and 2022, and we know how advanced we have moved in digitalizing and how the traditional practices are being altered by this digitalization. Definitely with reference to the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, the situation is something different. That also we will discuss. So when it comes to the open and distance learning in social work and what is the role of digitalization, in 1892, the University of Chicago created the first college level distance education program for students who lived in far from campus. Students used the US Postal Services to send their professors completed assignments and lessons. And in 1934, the University of London began broadcasting courses by television. This has a close connection with digitalization of social work education and practice. In India, all of us know that in 2004, with the inception of BSW program in Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi, we came to know that the ODL in social work has been introduced. From that day onwards, so gradual improvement and gradual acceptance of social work programs through open and distance learning has been increased. And today, in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic from 2020 onwards, so almost all the universities have imparted the education through open and distance learning mode or online mode. And that is how the digital era has moved forward in providing this kind of ODL programs, online programs. And now we are talking about this blended mode programs, both offline and online, apart from the offline, face-to-face, traditional or regular programs. And digital technology is also being widely used across the globe in traditional practices and also interventions too. So that also sometimes we have to acknowledge and accept that is complementing to the traditional practices when we want to kind of ensure the effectiveness in teaching learning process. So every one of us know that social work education and training have two different broad components, teaching learning and field work. In teaching learning, we have the classroom teaching learning, then guest lectures, seminars, participation, presentations, co-curricular and co-curricular activities. And in field work, there are a number of components. Importantly, we have field action projects and involvement of students in the these field action projects, and concurrent practicum that is happening in every semester, observation visits, study tours, rural camps, block placements, or in summer internships. All these are part and parcel of social work education and training, and how these traditional practices are altered by the digitalization, particularly with reference to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is how we used to be together in a group photo. Now also we are together on the screens. So that is what is the impact of digitalization. We were having observation visits by visiting some reputed organizations, development sector, to understand what kind of programs and activities that they are carrying out in their particular domain. Now, in the last week, we had an observation visit. Now we have titled it as a virtual observation visits we had with the SPYM New Delhi. Being in Chennai, Sri Perumbudur, we have connected with the people in Delhi, and our students who are from 15 different states in our country, and they are all connected from their own origin places. So this is how now digitalization is making us to impart social work education and training. This is the classrooms, how we work together along with the teachers, and now also the students are together with the teachers, but on the laptop screens. So similarly, some opportunities also are there and some advantages also are there. Now we are able to connect with each other globally, not only nationally. And some 2-3 weeks ago, I have invited Professor Sanjay Roy, sir, to speak to our students on social work education and social work practice in correctional setting. So that was possible because of the digital platforms and digitalization of alter practices which are in existence. And the innovations what are explored recently, I have done a small study with a group of social work educators in our country, and Professor Sanjay Roy also is involved in this process. And what are all the innovations explored? To begin with, we have explored some innovative methods rather than the traditional approaches, and explored the fieldwork opportunities from any part of the country. I can be in Chennai or Trivandrum or Delhi or Kolkata, but I can do my online fieldwork. What are all the components that are being prescribed in online fieldwork? That is something different. And new skills were important among the students, beginning with report writing, proposal developments, technical skills, analytical skills, documentation, and online research. Now, every student of master degree are very well versed with the Google Forms and various other platforms with which they can carry out online research on various aspects. And it is time efficiency is there, and it is also economical. They need not travel, they need not spend money for their travel and all such things. And opportunity to connect with the international platforms. There is a enormous opportunity now. We are able to bring resource persons from various parts of the country during this COVID-19 pandemic, and the lessons learned from this pandemic situation. And equipped with technical knowledge and online engagement, explore the unexplored issues in the society, addressing issues of the people through online, this teleconferencing and video conferencing, and some other mechanisms that we have adopted. And also adoption of online mode of social work practice, which is highly difficult, but in some cases we are able to do. And I also recall the statement given by our moderator, Jose Anthony, who has talked that practicing social case work, is it possible through digitalization or through online mode? Not at all. It is very, very difficult. And online voluntary services during the pandemic situation are some of the innovations or discoveries that are explored. And many interruptions or disruptions that we also experienced as a social work educators in guiding our students for their field work. We know that the global definition of social work given by International Federation of Social Work says that social work is a practice-based profession which enters into the pains of the people. And facilitation on application of knowledge into practice is one of the interruption. We will not be able to do that. Providing hands-on experience, and during this COVID-19 pandemic, and some schools of social work and departments of social work adopted the model of blended mode of fieldwork practicum. And in such cases, we are able to give some kind of inputs to our students. Otherwise, hands-on experience is completely missing. And close monitoring and supervision. I am somewhere in Delhi and my students are somewhere in Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh or Manipur. So how we can, if we don't interact with each other during the group conference or the individual conference, that close monitoring and close supervision will be completely missing. And the guidance on the report writing, usually we ask them to write their reports with social workers' perspective. So that can be ensured only when we are discussing face-to-face interactions and all. Ensuring attendance at fieldwork conferences is something different thing. Some students, they will say, sir, we have a network issue. Some students will say, sir, we could not submit the report on time because of so-and-so reason. So all these things are to be accepted and allowed. So that is what is the situation in a digitalized digital world. Placing the students based on their choice. It's kind of an interruption that we have experienced, and facilitating teamwork among the students. And one student is in one village and another student is in some small city and another student is in a slum, and they are all not together and they can't share with each other and they don't know each other. Only in these electronic devices only they can watch each other. That was the situation. And guiding on learning from each other, that is missed. And rendering voluntary services during pandemic due to restrictions by the government. These are some of the interruptions that we have experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic, and also connected to the digitalization of the social work education in India. So my observation is undoubtedly digital era has altered the traditional practices and interventions across the globe, and this has become an inevitable exercise in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. And a set of digital techniques are also to be adopted for effective teaching and learning too, not only in social work discipline, but also in other programs. Technology has transferred the nature of social work education, whether it is used to supplant or supplement face-to-face instruction. Social work educators must keep pace with the rapidly developing standards of practice. So with this, I stop, and I am eagerly waiting to take part in the discussion. Thank you very much, Dr. Sunny and Jose Anthony, for giving me this opportunity, and also the Devagiri College of Social Work. And thank you so much. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, okay, Bocha. we will quickly move to Sanjoy sir. So he will also have his presentation. And after that, we will definitely open up for a discussion. And I hope the most beautiful thing of this session will be the questions and the way we deliberate upon this. So Sanjoy sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
Very good afternoon to all, Professor Jose, Dr. Sunny Jose, Dr. Rambabu Bocha, Department of Sociology, Degree College, student, practitioner, research scholar, and Professor D.S. Thomas, though I have not interacted yet, HOD. Thanks all of you giving me a beautiful opportunity to interact. See, I'm the last person. To be a last person, being a last person, I have enough opportunity to, I can say anything because already they have said, and I'm not going to talk about that what they have already talked about, right? So sometimes it feels boring. So rather, I'm sorry because I don't have any presentation PPT because
okay.
I was
okay,
told,
absolutely okay.
yeah,
No
I was
problem.
told that sir, you have to speak 15 minutes. I said
Yeah,
then I'm
that's
not
it,
going
yeah.
to have any PPT, but I'll just share my understanding. And also, I'm not feeling well a couple of days. Still,
Mhm.
let me discuss certain thing. When he gone through this two presentation before, wonderfully they have kept different areas of technologies, how technology has erupted from long back, and in social, when we say practically the technology has come, a couple of decades back. Even National Association of Social Work, they talk about that technology advancement in society. There must have a changing role by the social worker, and social worker, has to be tech savvy, and they should learn and then de-learn to other people also when they practice in the field. So it's not a new thing, but COVID-19 has given a plethora of opportunity to see the technology from different dimensions. So in social work also we are thinking about how social work practice is possible through technology. That's the biggest question. These both of them has beautifully talked about the positive aspect of technology, how technology is taking up everything in a blended mode or side by parallelly with our education system. But my understanding is there is certain question what I am to tell you that is my question. Technology is good thing. We should have technology. We should be embracing technology because the global world is developing side by side with the technological advancement. So we have to be developed, right? But when we say in practice in social work, do you think the feeling will bring it from technology? Whether the interaction process we used to have initially with the client, in client system, it will be there. Whether this emotion we used to have, though we say control your emotion, but we used to say the emotion, whether it will be there through technology, whether this effect of human relation, it will be there as we used to have without technology. So that certain question I'm throwing it to all of you. Just think. Number two, Dr. Sonny Jose very nicely talk about gaming could be a useful technique. Sometimes our children nowadays, they are now prone to gaming and without having class, and they are forcefully they are going into the gaming. So gaming become a negative things, what I feel. But that gaming or that system of gaming could be positive thing for our clientele. Is it possible? How it can be possible? That has to be, we have to think on that. So digital era, I'll just a little bit talk about the effect basically, how it has changed the relation, how it has changed the complete picture before 2020 and after 2022. So how digital era has changed the person's interaction from social work perspective, if you see in 20th century, late 20th century, technical literacy became a cultural competency. As we know, the multiculturalism also did havoc in 1960s, right? So in digital divide, as Professor Jose beautifully talked about at the beginning, very beginning, haves and haves not. So now I'm thinking in another perspective that digital divide has created two class. Yes, it haves and haves not. I'm taking another name, prosper with technology, and another is technology desert. So whether this haves not or technology desert is able to take the fruits of technological advancement, that's the question in our mind, right? So how digital change has taken place nowadays? Every 2 minutes we check our mobile. Everybody, even me, even you, every 2 minutes we check our mobile, our Facebook, right? So it become a technological explosion nowadays. So in this time, what happens? The integration of technology into social work practice, when we talk about three approaches come into the picture, right? Basically, one is proactive, second is reactive, and third is rejecting. So proactive means when we address, we would like to act most of the time in a proactive fashion, whether it is with client, whether it is our colleagues, right? And reactive is basically a constructive in your response to our new knowledge, new critical thinking, pedagogy, how it has changed. So that is reactive. We react immediately. And last one approach is we're using is rejective. Rejective is not a denial, but it's rejection in the sense that haves not, when there is a technology desert, with certain things we reject because it does not reach to the client, is not up to the client hand. So we reject certain thing, maybe technical or untechnical tools, right? So because of that, nowadays also we have started talking about, especially during COVID-19, that social worker had begun to consider the impact of digitalization on society, and a specific platform including Facebook, Skype, Instagram, Vivers, or WhatsApp or Twitter, whatever you say. So what we have started now talking about e-professionalism. So that has become one aspect of effect of this digitalization. What e-professionalization? E-professionalization basically it's used by medical setting, but also social worker or other practice-based profession also started using this e-professionalism with social media. But there must have certain ethics you have to taking care of, as NSW has talked about many ethics we have to take care of, because e-professionalism talk about the attitude, it talk about the action, it talk about the adherence for relevant professional codes of conduct. So we have to see how it is possible in social work. That is, and again, another question. But two person, they have done a lot of research, Miguel and Buzzy, and they have developed wonderful observation in digitalization. They said that digital literacy be promoted amongst all, whether it is systematic, whether it is behavioral guidance, or if it is challenges, anything is there in the society, you have to promote it. They also said that higher expectation and regulation should be clarified. They said social worker be trained in online safeguarding certain things, because a lot of issues nowadays coming in ethical aspect. So they talk about that restorative and training based approaches should be employed when there is a breach of regulation, breach of conduct, right? So COVID-19, it has actually pushed social work, our profession, into an existential crisis, what I feel. We are not very satisfied with that digital effect on social work practice, because I feel it has somewhere its existential crisis is there. That's why, you'll see that as a result, agencies, students, and field of education programs, we are going to explore a new territory. We're trying to find out new territory, how to start, where to start, what is the limitation, where to going to end is itself, whether it is possible to end itself or not. So a lot of questions are coming, right? So immediately we have to, during COVID-19, we have seen that immediately we have to develop our curriculum, redesign our curriculum, redesign our field of practicum, and a lot of good institution who doesn't have enough institutional infrastructure in terms of digital mode. So they face a lot of issues because they could not connect properly with the NGOs, they could not develop new techniques, learning models as required during COVID-19. So therefore, this COVID pandemic also has impact on digital through digital mode, because this collaboration between educators, field, community partner was not very easy, because we as a supervisor, we have seen still we are facing, right? So a student also are required engage in social work practice when there's no field instructor available. They need immediate supervision, they need immediate guidance. So field faculty, field instructions or instructor, a lot of innovative ideas were required to educational integrity, right? So client safety again was very important during COVID-19 also, when you talk about that, supporting training for ethical practice, whether it is really happening or not. So another problem also, we saw that regional collaboration between field education program was strengthened, though virtually we had a lot of meetings. That's why today I am here. And I can also speak. Last week, I had a speak on something on social work and human rights in Germany. So that also positive aspect we had, because there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of collaborative approach could be possible, right, with the students or field or. But there is a challenge because there's a lot of ethical issues is there, because privacy issues, data protection issues, confidentiality issues, informed consent is again another aspect, anonymity, conflict of interest, evidence-based practice was very important because that was ethical somewhere. So in light of recent example also, if you see social workers also misusing social media, sorry to say, because they are also posting their client picture, client information to Facebook and other media. So that also we have to think whether and how this social work ethics has to maintain through digital media. So digital, what I feel, digital immigration has taken place, a shift from digital importance to digital immigration also has taken place, whether it is WhatsApp or Twitter or Facebook, YouTube, whatever, education or whatever research, right? A lot of research is going through online mode also, right? So academics, we have to also understand that academics need to be aware about the relationship between contemporary social change and technological advancement, because that affects the expectation and need of the student, and need of the student also. They want certain new thing. They feel that we need something which would be very easy, and that could be possible only digital mode only. So education in social work need to evolve based on how people also to communicate today, should contribute to the transformation of learning and teaching to make the student in social work in 21st century more viable, right? But there are a lot of issues which we can see, like we have lost the social skills, because we are depending totally on media, social media. As Dr. Rambabu has said, people are not ready to give their assignment on time because they must say that there's network issues. So we lost the writing technique also. We lost a lot of sense in the practice, because there is no right, there is no wrong through media. So that's why what we see, that human sociology somewhere lost in when we talk about, but certain aspect also has given positive connotation with media also. So this media also has destroyed the intimacy, that end of intimacy with our client, with our colleagues, intimacy in the positive term. So it's towards the brand behavior, and has completely changed. We have seen that a lot of issues has also raised during this digital divide. Technology, other than technology, also it has lost our sensitivity to our client, because through telephone or through digital, we sometimes fail to understand the sensitivity of the client. But there are a lot of positive aspect digital has given to social work practitioner also. It has enhanced the barrier access to social work services in different modes. It has given the real-time monitoring and client system, easy approach able to client. It has providing cost-effective delivery system to social work practice. It has given the engaging and empowering the community through digital mode. A lot of students also gaining certificate or courses through digital mode. More research are coming out nowadays. So broadly disseminating information has given a lot of weightage to digital mode. I can give an example simply. When a child, infant, the babbles, the gesture, or the cries, what happens? The adult or the mother or parents appropriately they use their eye contact with the child. They say simple word, or they hug. So a neutral connection is built and strengthened into the child brain, and that support system develop the communication and societal skill to the children. So in response of that, the child also learn empathy and compassion. So is it possible to have that kind of neutral connection through digital mode? That is my question. And yes, digital mode has given already it has become a technique. Rather, I must say, digital social work become a technique, or is it possible to make another method of social work? That could be 100 million question now all of us can see. But somewhere this social work, we have to see that lot of issues now whatever coming in our mind, somewhere we have to see what the next few years, how we are going to see that social work practice in digital form. Even I remember the Gandhi, somewhere I read that Gandhi said, Mahatma Gandhi, you must be the change you want to see in the world. The change in the digital divide start with you. He said that digital divide should start from you. You have to take the responsibility, and you have to take the responsibility in a positive aspect. Then only we can have better, digital use, or even social worker can have a wonderful scope to use digital. But we have to think whether the ethics in digital mode, whether we are really taking care of. Only then we can go for digital mode. Otherwise, it will be havoc lost for our profession. That I personally feel. Overall, digital mode we have to go, because there is no other step out. So let's have. Even I don't know, I'm not a digital techno savvy, but we have to learn the digital mode, and we have to teach our client, we have to teach our students as part of this digital requirement. So thank you so much, because we are moving from lastly I must say, we are moving from monologue to dialogue. Now we have to see from multi-log. So that I think somewhere we we are moving towards multi-log. So thank you very much giving me opportunity to just interact something on digital and effect of social relations. Thank you so much, Professor Bose.
Okay, Sanjay sir, it was nice to listen to you. So we had 3 panelists, Sony sir, then Rambabu sir, and Sanjay sir. All the 3 has presented their perspectives and standpoints on the digital, the social work, education, training, and practice in a digitalized world. So we have different perspectives. Sony has really given an idea about the evolution process of this digitalization. It started with basically on the issues we had or the concepts we had in the science fiction and the realities we have come across today. And further, he moved to 2 major domains, how this digitalization is taking place, its implications on the development domain, as well as with the mental health concept or social well-being concept. So he has given examples and experiences we have already made, hackathon and different experiments we have made with. And Rambabu sir basically focused on the issues and concerns per se with a social work education, the fieldwork concerns, the classroom issues, the concerns of the student community, the issues they face with their conceptualization, understanding, exams, everything. So practically what is happening with social work educational process and training parts, that was the major area Rambabu sir has really brought out. And Sanjay sir also has brought out a concept of e-professionalism and how we can really work upon that. And he has talked about digital literacy, and I think more than digital literacy, we may really go with the digital expertiseness. A social worker should be a digitally expertised person, and that way we also need to introduce maybe a course in social work education on digital devices slowly. Because there was a time when I heard about that social worker is a social engineer. And if we want to really work as an engineer in a social order, we need all these social devices, and we should know how to utilize it, how to operate it, and how to work with. So a digital expertiseness is a need of the hour. And all the 3 have really brought out this thinking with. And I just may add one thing and will open up this flora for an open discussion. When we really learn and read the origin and development social work profession on in the context of industrial revolution, what we really did, the industrialization and the innovations, the development of new lifestyle on the basis of the industries and production system has really revolutionized the then existed traditional order. And as a result, people started to migrate from the villages of their existence to the so-called cities. And social work has really emerged as a response to this situation in making industrialization humanized. We were addressing the social justice issues which have come across from or come out from the industrialization. We made industries human friendly, social friendly, community friendly, maybe pro-poor employees, people who are having psychological issues, social issues. And I very strongly believe social work profession has got a second mandate now to make the digital possibilities humanized, the artificial intelligence humanized. We are traveling from human intelligence to an artificial intelligence, and there may be a time when artificial intelligence will really take up. And if there is a social worker, I believe his or her responsibility will be, again, humanizing that intelligence for the social order and social living. And how we really stand for social justice in a digital world. How we really make it out. how this system can be brought in for our core values. Whatever, there may be a lot of changes or innovations or revolutions taking around social work profession, and how we respond to that, how we really engage with that. That is a challenge with possibilities as well as challenges. So we have really, the experts, the panelists have really brought out different dimensions in this. And I think we have started some questions coming into the chat box. The first question was by Sharon Prince. I think that was to Sanjoy sir. Am I correct, Sharon?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Question was basically the proactive approach. Is there any proactive approach? And I think Sharon has given her understanding on what is a proactive approach. And I think that needs a bit of correction. It is not what she understands is a proactive approach is an approach in which we do something before the occurrence of an issue. Not necessarily proactive means we are having a very positive response to that situation. So social work is trying to be proactive. Definitely, we are trying to. And I think that's a concern to Sanjoy sir. I think you can respond to that.
Actually, proactive behavior, it occurs with the reading about current technologies, which really that affect these kind of evidence-based practices, client population, ethics, agency processes, and also kind of advocacy solution. So it basically talk about the technological effect on maybe your client, maybe adolescent, maybe family, maybe individual. So this proactive behavior, sometime what happen, if there is a specific problem in the family, it can be taken in online for alternative approaches, including technological solution. So that's why people are talking about that we can react proactively. We can work on these. If there is something, some problem in Kerala, and I can give some some kind of solution approaches from here through technological advancement. So that somewhere people are talking about proactive behavior, but we have not used in social work as such. People are started trying to use it, especially foreign people are already talking about started to using this, but in India still we have not used, but we started talking about, is it possible to become a proactive behavior? Something is happening in another corner in India, and is it possible to give some suggestion, solution through technology? What I believe is medically it is fit, but whether it's possible for social work, that has to be seen, because time to come, I think if digital era is going to so high, so somewhere we have to be very proactive in terms of behavior. So that is beginning actually of this term.
Okay, Sonny sir, yeah, you can add on.
Yeah, I would like to add on what Sanjoy sir was trying to say. Maybe when you say proactive, I think Joseph said rightly, making technology more humane, number one. Number two is making it more inclusive, development becoming more inclusive. I see, basically when I looked at engineering, because we have been working with engineering colleges a lot, and especially beyond that with the hackathon, they have a new area called translational engineering, which actually tries to give technology a human face. And very fortunately, we have been able to communicate to them the humane face of it. We call it the user interface. Often they know that they are technological savvy, they give you products, but how to make it more humane is what we are trying to do. So I'm saying that integrating that is a lot of possibilities. Last week, we are into designing a community organization program for Digital University of Kerala. I'm designing that for them. And that will be their first opportunity to actually use, integrate technology into PRA and things like that. So reaching out, this is a huge area opening up. They really need our support. So I'm saying social work can proact on that.
Yeah, okay. I think Ram Babu also has shown his hand. Ram Babu sir?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Jose. And I remember that you also was part of that particular meeting when we had a discussion on field action projects and in India. Dr. Farida Lambe and
Yeah,
Professor Raghavan and all.
yeah, true.
And in addition to the inputs provided by Professor Sanjay Roy, and I can say that apart from the evidence-based practices and evidence-based research and all, we also are focusing on now intervention-based approaches and intervention-based research that is to be very, very importantly focused upon by the social work educators, and also inculcate such mindset among the students at bachelor level and master degree level, so that that proactive behavior also can be ensured. That's what one point I need to emphasize upon here. And yeah,
Okay.
over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, we have another question in the chat box. That's a good practice, that you can really put your questions in the chat box so everybody can see that and respond to. Arjun, you have put up a question. What are the challenges faced by you personally as a social worker in this digitalized era? So can you make this question specific to whom? Sanjay sir or Rambabu sir or Soni sir? Or
Yes,
to me?
I'll start.
Yeah, okay.
As a faculty, I face a lot of things. Like I said earlier, I'm not a techno savvy, tech savvy, right? So sometimes I used to take the help from my even research scholars, right? And not that I don't know, but somewhere how to use it immediately, even how to form a Google form, how to create a Google form, all these things. But when I see the practice in my students who are staying in Calcutta or who are staying in Rajasthan, so it is very difficult to collaborate with organizations, right, during this COVID-19 because I have advancements of technology here, but they don't have agencies in Rajasthan, in a village. So a lot of issues are coming to coordinate, to cooperation, how we can have a group meeting. At the beginning, I'm talking about at the beginning in 2020, April, May, June, that time, when just started lockdown and all. So it was very difficult, Arjun, to have this coordination, to have a group meeting, what you call GC, even taking feedback with the students from the agency. It was very difficult for us. Even a student came to me, said, how to start fieldwork? We have to pass. So I said, you can find out certain people who are supposed to be warriors in Corona. You go to them and talk to them. You just go and have their life experiences during Corona time. Suppose, for example, the maid. Say, for example, a gate man. Suppose maybe a person, a sanitary person, right? So that kind of fieldwork we started. But as I said, that emotion, the feelings, the human relation, somewhere we lost, right? When we talk about the practice, field of practice. So initially it was a lot of issues came, but gradually it used to be okay, kind of thing when we started blended mode. So that also has given certain ground to learn more of things. But at the beginning, a lot of issues came, even from student perspective, from teachers perspective, from agency perspective, because we used to visit every week agency, we could not. Agency, they are saying we lost our project because of that. We cannot take a student. So a lot of issues, Arjun, came to the 1 year, last year. A lot of issues came so far as social work field practicum is concerned.
Okay, anything to add? Soni or Rambabu sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Rambabu.
Please proceed, Dr.
Yeah,
Sanjay Joseph.
okay. Soni?
Yeah, just to be very honest, two things that I experienced. One is in terms of technology becoming too complicated. I would probably remember, Jose and I we started off with SPSS version 2. Now it is 11, 12, 13
Yes.
and on. And it's so, cluttered that I think it's no longer human. So I think this is where I think the youngsters are much more savvier than we are. But that is exactly where I'm saying that, yeah, faster and savvier than we are. And I think that's a reality that I need to respect you for. Okay, I'm just putting it that.
Yeah.
Now the SPSS is 18, 19 has come, I think. We don't know.
Yes,
We don't
yeah.
know.
Okay. So things will go like that.
Yes.
And for me, as an educator for 26 years and a person who really enjoys being an interactive person in the classroom, was struggling really with this flat screen. That's one thing. Second thing, many of the sessions were from my home, and my technical device support mechanism was not so good. And many times my younger daughter was my guide, not even my students. So we were compelled to learn from anybody because they take it very fast and they do it very fast. I was not able to download and put up WebEx or different platforms to work with. And for me, in my university, we have launched this different LMS platforms, and we were struggling to follow the instructors in the process. They will move very fast with their technical knowledge, but we really struggle to catch up and develop that system. And another very important thing, I was not at all comfortable sitting before the system and reading the assignments, reading the dissertations, reading the PhD thesis coming on. And it was really a Herculean task for me to go through these processes. One way or other way, I'm still struggling to keep me balanced as a teacher. Another very sad thing which I experienced was I was a regular trainer to different type of people, and I felt it very, very sad to sit in a classroom in a room like this and give training without facing them, without really interacting them, without getting any of their feedback.
Not possible.
It's much more harder than taking a class in the department. So I really was a person who really loved to be among the people, but now I really find it difficult. But slowly catching up on with the practical difficulties.
Yeah, Jose, I also noticed something very interesting. I find, over the last 2 years, students have started to read more. Unlike, because we have a lot of access beyond this class, they bring in a lot of data, and we are challenged with data. So that's one good thing that I found.
Yeah,
and I congratulate them for that.
Not only data. You know what? I'm doing a course on social theories in my program, and they have every theoretician, every theory given in Wikipedia with a very concise format. They come out with that. That is their Magna Carta. So how we really take this Wikipedia not into a practical system? It's a challenge I face with now, because they easily catch up on with the, if you teach Sigmund Freud, they have all the terminologies used by Sigmund Freud with its meaning on their laptop or mobile. So how you really bring that into the practice is a challenge. So many things, Arjun, as social work educators we face with. Similarly with practitioners. Many a times I do counseling also at my home. And I work a bit with the family also. And once they cry over telephone, what to do basically is embarrassing for me. So in the field also, I believe there are difficulties in everything. So we are facing and we are working with. So that was definitely a good question also. Self-reflective question. Arjun, good. Scope of MSW in outside countries. I think we will keep that question for a deliberation.
Anthony, can I respond?
Yeah, okay, Rambabu sir.
Yeah. I just want to make a statement that we are all lucky enough to be in higher education in India, and our students are more sound in the digital era than all of us.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We learn and we gain a lot from them, of course, from our children also. So I agree with all the three panelists on their statements made on this.
And also, I have a caution statement too, sir. The caution statement is Rasul Pukuti is a Malayalam voice technician. and he was awarded with the what I forgot that award. Basically, Oscar Award.
Oscar.
And we have given an honorary doctorate to Russell Bukuti in our university. So in his response speech, he has made a very, very critical observation. He told that with all technical devices and possibilities for sound recording in the very minute microscopic possibilities, we failed to make compatible sound recording of the people who have made it maybe 4 or 5 decades before. He's a man who has been given with Oscar Award, and he has readily agreed that technology has its limitations. So one problem which I really find with the new generation is that they get what they require very easily, and they're happy with that. So they tend to be a minimal level people. They have a lot of possibilities around them, but I doubt how much they really catch up on with that new generation.
Sir, just I'm to add with you. Technology, we are advanced a lot, right? We has now we are planning to go moon, we are planning to go Mars. Technological revolution has taken place. Side by side, if you see the social practice, we lost our tradition, we lost our values, we lost our relation. I was trying to talk about at the beginning in my lecture. So we somehow lost that process, interaction process totally. We lost somehow this emotion totally. So that's the problem.
So a new world is coming up. New world order, new value system, new thinking, new practices, maybe new morality, new knowledge. Everything is coming up. So we have to catch up on with that. Anju was made a question that scope of MSW outside countries. Anju, during this digitalized system, I think you can explore your possibilities sitting at your room. That is the advantage. Otherwise, social work always have got much more possibilities outside countries, especially in Euro-American based developed or far better economic systems. So that's what I understand. And I don't think that's an issue which we have to spend much of the time here. It's really, you can explore all possibilities sitting at your home, because everything has got its websites, its possibilities, criteria is given, how you can really go to UK and work over there, how NARIC is working on that, or how different selection committees, selection or recruiting agencies are working on it, and all these things you can really work on that sitting at your home. So you need not depend much on the agencies, and you can, if you're cautious, you can be much more protected from the fraudulence in the system. So that's what I think we can put up across with. A lot of scholarships are coming, and a lot of people are moving outside for their higher studies. So these are possibilities you can also fetch it. I think some other questions, participants, please. So we really expect. Okay, Hiba.
It's time to wind up. Could you please make it short?
Yeah. Okay. Is there any question coming up? We will wait for 1 or 2 questions. Otherwise, we will quickly wind up with. I don't think any question coming up. Okay. So we will very quickly wind up with. It was really great to listen to Sani, Rambabu sir, and Sanjoy sir on this platform. They have really brought out different perspectives to come in, and different possibilities, different risks, challenges, and also some very maybe a bit of philosophical or a conceptual deliberations also on the process of digitalization and its implication on social work processes and all. And I think digitalization has done a lot in the process of inclusiveness and empowerment process. because now women who were not that much accessible with the economic transactions can do it much faster and much better by themselves. They need not depend much on the others. They also have the system because almost in Kerala context, I understand that almost every woman who is working with Kudumbasri and MNREGA program have got a digitalized account system, and they have a card with them. They can they have a bank account, and they can make economic transactions much better. They can talk to people outside. They get more inputs through the social media. And in that way, social workers can have a very, very significant research on the digitalization, on inclusiveness, digitalization, on empowerment and all. One of my not basically a student, but she has prepared a research proposal on women inclusiveness and digitalized financial services, and she is moving to Sussex in UK for her research program, because they have taken it as a very important, vibrant area coming up in research. Because how digital systems are making social development, economic development, cultural development, and network systems, advocacy, training process, and all this. So I think we can really come across with this beautiful things. And I really thank the Department of Devagiri College for making this platform and also giving us these opportunities. Thank you. Let us carry on this discussion further. Thank you
for this engagement.
Thank you very much, sir. And please excuse me, I had to leave from my office. I have some other engagement in Chennai city.
Okay, Rambabu, move it. Thank you.
Yeah. Professor Sanjay Roy, sir, and Dr. Sunny Jose, and Anthony, sir, Dr.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very
Bye.
much,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Deepa, proceed.
So thank you.
I invite Mr. Praful Raj M, Assistant Coordinator Collab 2022, to propose the vote of thanks.
Respected dignitaries, faculty members, and all participants in the meet, good afternoon to all. In this national webinar on social work in digitalized world, held as a part of Collab 2022, we had a panel discussion on intervention and challenges of social work in digital era. Developing technology has its impact on all spheres of our activities, and no one is exempted from it. Social work is also changing with the new digitalized-based intervention methodologies. The concept of e-social work is also gaining importance. The topic of discussion today was a very much relevant topic in this digitalized era. We had a lively and interactive session, and the panelists did justice to topics assigned to them. They dealt with the subjects comprehensively, threw up points for debates and discussions. On behalf of the Department of Social Work, St. Joseph's College, Autonomous Devagiri, and all participating in the meet, I extend my sincere gratitude to Dr. Sonny Jose, Dr. Rambabu Pocha, and Dr. Sanjoy Roy for sharing with us your valuable opinions on the topic. I also wish to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Jose Anthony, who has moderated the panel discussion in a befitting manner. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sanjay sir, Sonny,
Thank
Rambabu, and the organizers. We will meet next.
Yeah,
later.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yes.
Leave the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Praful. We are heading towards the valedictory function. I invite Ms. Anujiji, Assistant Professor, Department of Social Work, St. Joseph's College, Autonomous, Devagiri, for the welcome speech.
Thank you, Jixley. A warm good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is immensely an exciting evening for the Department of Social Work of St. Joseph's College, Devagiri, Calicut. Collab 2022, one of our prestigious events, the national webinar, have now reached the end of its session, and that is the valedictory function. So this year's theme that we have selected for Collab was social work in digitalized world. From morning to evening, we had various sessions. We had a keynote address, a technical session, and also afternoon we had a panel discussion. So throughout the webinar, we had the presence of eminent resource persons from India and also from abroad. We had with us Dr. Baiju Devi from McEwen University, Canada, Dr. Rambabu Bocha from Rajiv Gandhi Institute, Tamil Nadu, Dr. Sanjay Roy from University of Delhi, and Dr. Soni Jose, Dr. Jose Anthony, Dr. Joseph Sebastian from Kerala. So the expertise of each resource person based on the topic was really appreciable. We had gone through the topics like the Social Work Association response to technology, the power of social media in social work profession, threats to the central values of social work, ethical considerations and skills for social workers that we require to survive in the digitalized world. We also discussed how we can use this technology for the betterment of people and also how to mold the attitude, knowledge, and practices of social worker according to the digitalized world. We shared knowledge based on the topic social work in the context of digitalization, advantages and disadvantages of digitalization, social work education and training, the impact of digitalization and alteration of traditional practices, and so on. So these were the major areas that we have covered through this webinar. So now let me acknowledge the presence of our eminent guest. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome Reverend Father Sunilam Antony, CMI, the Director of Self-Financing Program of St. Joseph's College, Devagiri. Welcome you, Father, to this valedictory function. I extend my warm welcome to all the resource persons now who are there in online. Dr. Jose Anthony, Dr. Soni Jose, Dr. Sanjay Roy, welcome all of you to this valedictory function. A hearty welcome to our head of the department, Professor T.S. Thomas, and also my own colleagues, Dr. Anish Kurian, Mr. Induti Babu. I welcome all the delegates, research scholars, the teaching faculties from other institutions who are participating in this webinar. Once again, I welcome each and every person to this valedictory function. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I invite Father Sunilam Antony, CMI, Director, Self-Financing Program, St. Joseph's College, Devagiri, to propose the valedictory address.
Thank you, Anu and Jixi. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Father.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Mr. Professor T.S. Thomas, sir, our head of the department, ever energetic. Then Ms. Anu Jiji, the faculty coordinator of Collab 2022. Ms. Thida, the general coordinator, resource persons, delegates of this webinar, professionals and other young budding professionals. I hope you all had a very good and enriching day today. St. Joseph's College, Devagiri, the Department of Social Work of St. Joseph's College, Devagiri, actually arranged a very good platform for deliberations on a very good topic, a relevant topic of the time. And we are at the close of this webinar. I would say the webinar was well conceived and ably conducted. Especially the theme you selected was very timely and relevant. Actually, I was out of station today. Mr. Professor T.S. Thomas and the faculty members have already informed me about this valedictory function, yet I could plan another program in between. I see or I deem that as the privilege of being in a technologically enabled and digitalized world today. Though I was out of station, I was confident enough that if I'm not able to come back before this validatory function begins, I would be able to deliver this the valedictory speech. This is the advantage of the digitalization or technology-enabled environment around us. As professionals, as students, as professors, we become more confident. And the distance is being shortened. You know, when we conducted Collab in the previous years, we were sometimes limited by the space and distance of the resource persons. Even though there were very good resource persons available at the different parts of the world, we may not be able to connect them or bring them to the campus sometime, even though we wished for that. But this time, this is an added advantage that we could connect with different resource persons from different parts of the country and even across the world. And we are also able to use our time efficiently. That is why I could plan another meeting or another thing, even though I was committed for this program. The efficient and effective use of time becomes much easier. So these are the certain general advantage that we get from going digitalized. So that's why I initially commented that the theme was very timely and relevant, especially its effects on the social work area and how the social work team or people can work more effectively in a digitalized or technology-enabled environment. The resource persons were chosen with care, and the sessions were logically arranged, and the discourses on the topics were illuminating. And you are now, by this time, will be aware of the scope of social work in this digitalized world, the use of the data, and many other advantages as I was listening to the panel discussion for some time. One thing that I want you all to take home is this: while being high-tech, you need to be people of high touch. When I was listening to the deliberations and of Professor Soni and also Jos and all, they were always or every time or in a sentence during their discourses, they were actually using the term humane many a time. So while we become high tech, we sometimes fail to be in high touch. The healing touch that a social worker alone can give to the world. I want to generously thank the organizers, the staff, and the students of the Department of Social Work of St. Joseph's College, Devagiri. They usually arrange a lot of innovative and enriching programs in the campus. Their commitment to professionalism is exemplary. I congratulate and thank all the resource persons for their generosity in sharing their wisdom and insights to this August gathering. Let me also congratulate the participants for their time and involvement. I could see more than 100 participants every time in the platform. So I consider that it was a great experience for you, and you might have got some kind of enriching new experience and knowledge. You were able to increase the knowledge base with regard to the social work in digitalized world. I congratulate all the participants, and I trust that the day was meaningfully spent and the learning was very substantial. For the students of the department, it must have been a lesson in planning, organizing, and coordinating everything. And it would definitely be a practical session for you. So the exercise was rewarding for the students too. In a whole, let me congratulate the whole team and all the participants for making use of this great day. Let's say it's a holy day for everyone, the second Saturday being a holy day, but you were considering it as a day for learning. So it's something great. So let me congratulate all of you for this great day, and wishing all a good time and good weekend. Let me remain. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. We have come to the end of our national webinar. Before we conclude, we have a few announcements to make. Here we have our winners of various cultural events conducted as part of Collabo 2022. I call upon Ms. Akshara Joshi P., Cultural Committee Coordinator, to announce the results.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, one and all. I'm so happy to announce the results of the cultural competitions held as a part of the National Webinar Collabo 2022, held at 10th of March. There were mainly 7 competitions like photography, essay competition, cartoon competition, poster making, PPT competition, and elocution. First of all, I'm going to announce the results of the PPT and elocution competition, where the first prize is 1,000 rupees and the second prize is 500 rupees. PPT competition, first prize goes to Anirudh Anil from Rajagiri College of Social Science. Second prize, Anita Mary Jesudas, Bharat Mata School of Social Work, Trikakara. Elocution competition, first prize goes to Nimisha Sunny from DCM College, Kottayam. Second prize, Anirudh Anil from Rajagiri College of Social Science. Poster making, first, Anita S., Rajagiri College of Social Science. Second, Vinita R., KE College, Mananam. Essay competition, first, Asha A.S., St. Thomas College, Tavalapara, Koni. Second, Anita Mary Jesudas, Bharat Mata School of Social Work, Trikakara. Photography competition, first, Andrew M. Idichandi, Marthama College, Tiruvalla. Second, Jalita John from Lisa College, Kaidapoil. Cartoon competition, first, Ajit Ponnachan from St. Thomas College, Tavalapara, Koni. Second, Vishnu PR from Chinmaya College, Thrissur. Congratulations for the winners, and thank you other participants for your valuable participation. The certificate for the winners and the participants will be sent soon. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, Akshara. Congratulations to all the winners. The link for the feedback form is provided in the chat box. Please make sure you fill the feedback form to receive the participation certificates. I invite Ms. Fida PD, Coordinator of Collabo 2022, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening all. As the program coordinator, it gives me immense pleasure and a great deal of satisfaction as we have reached the end of Collabor 2022, the national webinar organized by St. Joseph's College, Autonomous Devagiri, Calicut. We organized 6 competitions, namely poster making, cartoon, elocution, PPT, essay, and photography on 10th of March as part of Collabor 2022. I'm extremely delighted to announce that we received a good number of responses as well. Now, I would like to thank the resource persons in their absence who shared upon us with their expertise. I would like to thank all the participants of the webinar and the cultural competitions who made the event a grand success. Last but not the least, I would like to extend my gratitude to the faculties of Department of Social Work as well as the college for their constant support and guidance all along. Although also the students who have worked day and night to make this Collabor 2022 happen. Once again, thank you all for joining us on this auspicious event. Thank you.
Thank you, Fida. With that, we have come to the end of our webinar. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you.
Are you there?